of the group, that's what you would have got, but you're not, and therefore
less clout.
Less clout, right. So that is the theory of a landowners group, and it seems to have worked out successfully. The disadvantages are, a lot depends on how the groups are run. I've seen some groups where if you're part of the group and a certain percentage of the group members agree to take the master lease, then you're kind of bound to take that lease too. And you know, it's possible that maybe you don't want to take that lease because financially you think that you could do better, or you could do better on your own, or there's non-financial terms that you're not comfortable with. With those types of groups where it's mandatory that if 75% of the members sign, so do you, you're bound, okay, contractually bound. A lot of groups work kind of on a volunteer basis, and the groups that I'm involved with have it set up so that you get a master lease presented to the group, and if you want to take it, you can. But if you don't want to take it, you're free to walk away and either continue with the group and hope a better deal comes along, or go out and do it on your own. And I think that's a much better way to handle the group. It makes people a little more willing to join a group if they know that if they don't like it, they can just walk away. The question that she asked, can she join a group and yet not want the company to drill on her property, is a little trickier. In most cases that I'm familiar with, the gas company is going to present a master lease, and they're not going to want individual members to deviate from that lease.
Right.
And so, and a gas company by no means, for example, is going to sign a group with 20,000 acres, for example, and have it all non-surface so they can't drill anywhere.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever
Right.
for the gas companies. So basically, everybody generally in the group has to take a surface lease. Now, a lot depends on how much acreage you have. If you have 5 or 10 or 15 acres, chances are, based on the setbacks that are contained in the lease, in other words, how far they have to be away from structures. Sometimes it's 500 feet, sometimes it's 300 feet, sometimes it's 800 feet. I think at 500 feet, if that's the setback from how close they can drill to your house or any structure on the property, that excludes basically 18 acres of land around your house. And keep in mind, if you got neighbors around you, they also have kind of 18 acres around them that can't be drilled on. So somebody who has 20 acres, 25 acres, 30 acres probably doesn't have to worry about them drilling on their property anyways. Interestingly enough, I've talked to a lot of groups, and I was recently at a group one Sunday night, and we were talking, and there's about 25 people there. And I was explaining the difference between a surface lease and a non-surface lease. And I asked for a show of hands, and I asked the group, how many of you would be willing to let the gas company drill on your property? And in doing so, recognize that you're going to get, typically you get more money, you get what we call a spud fee, maybe $10, $15, $20, $25,000 extra because they're drilling on your property.
Okay.
And also recognize that if they're drilling on your property, chances are your acreage is all going to fall within the drilling unit, and then you're going to get paid a lot more in royalties.
Okay.
Okay, so I asked them, and I was shocked that probably 85% of them raised their hand and said they would want the gas company to drill on their property, that they weren't worried about damage or issues with water or the surface. And of course, if you have a property drafted lease, a lot of those surface and water issues should be taken care of as far as damage, and if you signed a lease with a good company. So I think that my misconception was that people were a little bit reluctant to have have gas companies drill on their property. It seems to be exactly the opposite. And when we did a deal with our Belmont County group, I actually had members of the Belmont County group call me and say, would you please tell the gas